Welcome, Stephen Duclos. We really appreciate you taking the time to talk to us a little bit about your presentation that you are going to be delivering at the State of Therapy Conference on September 26th at Clark University. Your topic is for and against technology, getting back to human in a technocratic, post-COVID, politically oppressive ecology. Can you tell us a little bit about what you're going to be covering and what this is going to be like?
Well, it won't be a traditional lecture. Of course, it's the last lecture of the day, so I don't want to be lecturing to people. This is much more of a discussion about the future of therapy, future of systemic therapy, and how we might interact with technology and how we might refuse to.
Mm,
So, we're talking about things like loneliness and housing and how these interact with our day-to-day work.
yeah. What was your inspiration for this topic?
Well, we actually, in the New England Journal of Relational and Systemic Therapy, which we're not doing anymore, but we did a survey of people post-COVID about technology and about post-COVID stuff. And since then, I've read anything I could get my hands on post-COVID world and how technology is interacting with that. So it's not an interest that just happened.
Mm.
It's sort of an interest that I've had for a while.
When you say getting back to human, that's for the therapist. What do you mean?
Well, before COVID, almost all of us were most of the work that we were doing was in person,
Mhm.
and after COVID, it switched completely the other way. So all of the work we were doing is mostly online, and we were wondering, colleagues and I were wondering, what does that mean? You know, what have we gained or what have we lost? And no one's quite sure what we've gained and what we've lost. Clearly, online therapy is more convenient, but it also is more problematic. And so, our discussions and talk on and at Clark will be about that. It'll be about at least being aware of what we've lost and maybe being aware of what we don't want to follow.
Mm.
You know, what's best for the people that we serve. It can't just be convenience. Yeah.
Why do you think this topic is so important right now for us therapists?
Well, the more that we use technology and the more this takes up our time, um, we don't really know what the psychological effects of that are. We don't know what the psychological effects are of a cell phone. We don't know what the psychological effects are of doing therapy in this way. We don't know whether we're helping people or we're not helping people using technology. So it would be good if we started to think about that and
Mm.
about how we might work together. For example, sometimes therapists will ask someone, a teenager, for example, who's using their phone all the time, stop using their phone for a few weeks. Sometimes when a teenager does that, someone who's used to using a phone every single day for long periods of time, they immediately get happier. I don't think that happens necessarily with adults, but I do know that it seems to happen with adolescents.
Wow.
So I have an interest in that. I'd like to know why that happens.
Yeah.
You know, why does someone who was playing the piano all the time when they were 10 stop playing the piano and now they're 16 and they haven't played again? And what happens when they stop using technology and go back to playing the piano? Um, and then then we have to use technology. We live in that kind of a world. Then how do we kind of switch back? I mean, how are we going to do all this? And how do we what might we advise people to do if in order to lessen their anxieties and worries about everything?
A lot of really great questions to ponder and discuss
Yeah,
with your colleagues, for sure.
right,
Yeah.
right. Yeah.
So is there, is there something in particular that you're hoping that the attendees will be walking away with? Some new skill, strategy, takeaway?
Well, I'm hoping that the discussion that we're going to have will make us more aware of how much we don't know, and how much we need to sort of start to explore in a world that we don't know anything about. Um, so I'll be quoting some people who have had some ideas about this as a way of initiating discussion. So I'm hoping that my colleagues and I will have a good discussion about and a better awareness of how we might proceed.